When did you realize you had finally broken a terrible cycle? For me, it happened on an ordinary afternoon, the kind that sneaks up on you with something extraordinary. My fiancé and I had just come back from grocery shopping. We were both exhausted, laughing about how we somehow spent double what we'd planned. I was unpacking the bags when it happened. The jar of tomato sauce slipped right out of my hands and shattered across the tile. Red sauce everywhere, glass shards glittering under the kitchen lights. For a second, the sound froze time. And then something inside me tightened. My chest, my stomach, my jaw, every muscle braced for what I'd always known came next. The yelling, the insults, the shame. I could already hear the echo of my father's voice in my head. "Can't you do anything right?" But instead, I heard laughter. My fiancé chuckled softly, shook his head, and said, "Well, I guess we're having buttered noodles tonight." He stepped toward me, checked my hands for cuts, and gently took me by the shoulders. "Hey, don't move, babe. I'll clean it up. Just go sit down, okay?" I stood there speechless, watching him crouch on the floor, whistling while he wiped up the sauce, like it was the most normal thing in the world. And that's when it hit me. He wasn't angry. Not even a little. He wasn't going to make me feel small or stupid for a simple mistake. That moment, a broken jar of sauce, showed me something huge. I realized I was living in a completely different world than the one I grew up in. You see, my childhood was built on fear. I learned to walk on eggshells before I could spell the word sorry. My father had a temper that could burn through walls. The tiniest mistake, spilled milk, a broken dish, a wrong word, could set him off. I still remember the sting on my cheek, the day I dropped a gallon of milk, the sound of it splattering across the floor, the glassy silence before his hand struck me, and the ringing in my ears afterward. My mother never said a word, because she'd grown up with the same kind of fear. It was a family cycle. Anger passed down like an heirloom nobody wanted, but everyone carried. And now, here I was, standing in a quiet kitchen, watching a man who didn't raise his voice. A man who smiled instead of scowled. A man who cared more about my hands than the mess on the floor. Tears filled my eyes before I could stop them. Because in that simple, ordinary moment, I realized the pattern was broken. This was what healing looked like. This was what love felt like. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, it was just safe. Later that night, as we sat down to our buttered noodles, I couldn't help but smile. For the first time, I wasn't afraid of the silence between bites. I wasn't waiting for the next explosion. And I knew, deep down, that when we have kids someday, they'll never have to flinch over a simple mistake. They'll grow up knowing that love doesn't yell, love doesn't hit, love doesn't humiliate. Love laughs. Love helps. Love heals. And all it took for me to see that was one broken jar of tomato sauce.